ESPN soccer analyst Steve McManaman. He's also a former professional football player himself who played for England's national team. Steve, obviously this is, as we mentioned, a historic rivalry between England and Argentina. It goes back to the days of Maradona and the famous sort of hand of God. But just give us your take on this. I think that for me, I have learned a lot watching Argentina play, especially in that game against Egypt. The fact that they were able to turn it around so late in the game, it really shows, how they behave when the game becomes uncomfortable. When the odds are not in their side, to be able to have that patience and mental discipline, that is what makes me nervous for the game today against England. Give us your take on that.
And she's rooting for England.
I'm rooting for England, of course.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, they've also got somebody called Lionel Messi, who's arguably the greatest player we've ever seen on the football field. So that certainly helps when you've got him in the team. I mean, the game should be quite close. To be very honest, when you looked at the France-Spain game yesterday, they're the two teams that have been the best in this competition. England and Argentina have done enough to get to where they are at this moment in time. I still think England need to improve if they're going to beat Spain. But the way Argentina have played, of course, there's lots of fight, there's lots of determination. They've had a bit of fortune along the way, but they are where they are today. And it should be a close game. It should be a very cagey game, I think, because of what's gone on in the past between them. But I fully expect and I hope that England come out on top.
Well, you were on the England squad in France back in 1998 that lost to Argentina on penalties. We know that the rivalry was at its most raw moment, perhaps even back then. It's easy for a coach to say there's no politics involved here, but just looking at the history, hopefully the players can focus on the game. All of these players were born after, obviously, the Falklands War, but they have long memories. I have to ask you about what you're expecting from England to win, because the two main players, as we know, have been Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham. Between the two of them, they've scored 13 goals this tournament, or 12, I think, between the two of them. So is it enough if they deliver their A games today, or is it going to take more from other team members to step up to?
Well, I hope it's a bit of both. I hope Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham do bring their A game, because if they do, England will succeed. I mean, you always want other players to chip in and be stronger. I think why everybody's confident is probably because of what Argentina have done this tournament and what we've seen them do. 4 years ago, when they lifted the trophy, they were a much better team. They're a lot older. They seem a little bit more one-dimensional. I don't want to criticise them too much, but they play very narrow at this moment in time. So if you are England doing your homework, you can find ways to beat them. Lionel Messi, of course, now is 38. He's not the player he was 4 years ago. He's a little bit more, he turns it on and off in the game now. He's a bit more savvy when he needs to be in a position. So I think England can use this to their advantage. With all respect, they're not a big team. They don't put a lot of crosses into the penalty area, Argentina, because they've got Julian Alvarez or Lionel Messi up front, and they're not the biggest. So I think there's options there, and there's reasons why England can counter-attack and beat Argentina today. But as I said right at the top of the show, they need to be better, England, of what we've seen, beating DR Congo, beating Mexico and beating Norway in extra time. If they want to lift this trophy, and that's what we want them to do. Thomas Tuchel was brought in to give them that extra bit of momentum to try and win this trophy. They have to be better, because if they do win today, they've got a magnificent Spanish team that they have to overcome as well. But let's just get this game out of the way. Let's see if they can win, and let's move forward and be very hopeful that England can do it.
Steve, what are the teams doing right now? As in, when you have a massive match and you're playing in the semifinals, 3 o'clock, let's say that the players wake up, I don't know, at 7, 8 a.m. How do they spend the morning? I mean, they have breakfast. Is there a team meeting? Do they have drills? What are they doing?
Well, today it'll probably be, everybody's very different. So they'll wake up, there'll be a breakfast, but some people might go back to bed, to be very honest, and rest. There'll be a team meeting before they leave the hotel. I'm almost sure of that. And there'll be another meal before they leave the hotel. But everybody's different. Some people wake up and then can't go back to sleep. Some people wake up early and need to go. If it was me, I would have woken up, had breakfast and gone back to bed and rested and tried to sleep again. I was very good at sleeping before games. So that would have been me. But of course, there'll be other people who'll be nervous. There'll be other people who'll be excited. So some of them won't be able to sleep. I was quite relaxed before games. So, you'd always find me fast asleep, really, trying to get as much rest and as much energy into my body as possible.
The adrenaline alone would probably kill. I'd be on a stretcher by like noon.
Well, we already are as fans. We're not even playing, and the
I love
adrenaline.
that. You just go back to bed on the morning. I love that.
Steve, can I ask you? You call Spanish football for a living. I know you're rooting for England today, but you know how these Spaniards train, and what we saw yesterday with them shutting out France was putting this team on the world stage here, and they've got years ahead of them, given how young some of these players are. And I wanted to read a quote from one of my son's soccer coaches who actually trains in Spain as well. So he's very familiar with Spanish soccer. And he said, "I want to be able to tell you that the USA is not far off on the men's side. I cannot. Spanish youth and adults are on a different planet. It's not even the same game." So just talk to us about this Spanish team, and if England does end up winning and playing against Spain, what can we expect from that?
Well, I mean, the Spanish Federation, as you know, they're highly successful. They won the European Championships 2 years ago. They beat England in the final, and it was a very close game, actually. So England won't have to do a lot. But Spain and their coach, La Fuente, he's been in the system for a long time. He knows the under-20 scene. He knows the under-14 scene. And as your comment just said, you know, they adore football. They're playing football morning, noon, and night. They're outside the youngsters in Spain. So they play the right style of football. I think that's very important to the Spanish nation. And they're going to be favourites, whoever they face, whether it's Argentina or England in the final. They're going to be favourites because of their records in this tournament and their records in European football. They've got some superstars in their team. Lamine Yamal, of course, is the next superstar. He's 19 years of age, just turned 19. And he's already got a huge amount of experience playing for Barcelona and playing for the Spanish national team. So he's the next superstar on the treadmill of Spanish football. They always unearth a wonderful talent, and they're going to be very difficult to beat. They're there because they should be there. They're the best team around at this moment in time. And as I said, the European champions 2 years ago. So we knew how good they were. It was just that everybody thought France might have their number this time. And the better teams Spain play, the better they perform. And I thought they were exceptional against a very dangerous France team. They were very dominant, and it was a wonderful performance. So whoever's going to beat Spain will have to do something special. And as I said, I hope that is England, and we'll have another conversation if England get through to the final. But it'll be some final in the MetLife.
Steve, I literally have 20 seconds, but I want to expand on something that Bianna mentioned. I mean, obviously today the big dogs are Bukayo, Harry, Jude. Those are the big dogs today. But who are the players that are overlooked, that maybe are not household names, but should be? Who else should we be watching? Just specifically, give us names.
Well, England will have to be very strong at the back. There was a few injury worries, but I thought Declan Rice has been amazing. He's had a wonderful year at Arsenal. You know, the defenders, Mark Gahey, John Stones, who played the other day, hasn't played, had a lot of injury worries. Actually, he doesn't have a football team after this World Cup. He played for Manchester City, but his contract's up. He was excellent in the semi-final, in the quarter-final, excuse me. So they're all going to have to be brilliant today if England get through. And they're the ones who are going to be marking Lionel Messi and Julian Alvarez for Argentina. And if they can keep them quiet, if they can keep them to a 0, no goals scored, they're going to be the stars. Because at the other end, you expect a Jude or a Harry Kane to come up trumps. So hopefully that's what they're the names we'll be talking about tomorrow.
All right. Well, we'll see. We've got about 2.5 hours. Steve McManaman, thank you.
There'll be a lot of fun music.
Thank you very much.
Fans will be singing today, too, every time England plays. Love it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
We're right back with more after this short break.
Thank you.